rupee routes. So that way it's just like, okay, I know I'm going to need X amount of money. Okay, oh, there's a 300 rupee chest here. Okay, I'll run and grab that so I don't have to farm.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard just to get the necessary progressive items in, and that you kind of forget about safeties or leave them till later, but it can be really important. Although, with some nice help, a blue potion being in Link's house is really nice.
Yes, though I don't think relkin took it.
Oh, did he not? Okay, well, he might be thinking, I don't need that, or maybe he's going to come back for it later. Or maybe, oh, maybe he just didn't see it in the log when he was going through.
Yeah, that is one
Another thing I should... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's another thing that we might be aware of here is that both Relkin and Benteezy are invited to come and hang out with us and watch the spree stream. So they might pick up on some clues by watching what their opponent does or how we talk about the game as well.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, it's different in a normal race in that typically we have like a stream delay and stream sniping is not allowed, but that's all because we don't want them to spoil the race and get information. But that's the whole point of this, right?
Very true. Very true.
So if the timers can be trusted, and let's just go ahead and trust them, it looks like Benteezy might have a little bit of extra time over Relkin, and I'm not really sure what that's due to.
Not sure either.
I didn't see it. It might have been like grabbing magic or something like that.
Now I know why Relkin skipped the bottle. Sick kid's got nothing.
Yeah, although the blue potion can still be a really nice safety if you're going through on low heart percent. Yeah, it's just if it prevents you from dying, that could save you a lot of time, right?
Very true. Plus, also one of the things I do have to say is we will get to see, over the next 3 matches, at least, how they actually deal with it, and how they will actually, change their routing, from what they learned from each other.
Yeah, because it's best of 3, so they'll have the opportunity potentially to change their strategy. So it looks like Relkin and Benteezy know exactly which chest that they're supposed to open. Sometimes if maybe you didn't have as much time as you wanted to study the spoiler log, you might see people be like, okay, I know I need something from Hype Cave, and they just open all the chests there.
Yes, it all depends on what's, more important. The safeties, if you have time to write it all down, and oh good god. Oh good god. I need to check something.
All right, looks like Relkin's going to go back up, get his Master Sword as well. I was a little bit worried about that, but this could be one of those moments where like stream sniping helps.
If you got a minute, see if you could find the hammer on the spoiler log, because I'm having to use a straight up, notepad for this one. Check hammer or Titan's mitts.
Yeah, I want to walk the line between like knowing where things are and having that improved commentary and just like spoiling the location.
Oh, I know that. I know that. I'm saying just check
audience.
For me. I've got an idea for what they might have to do.
Yeah, I don't think that we're seeing some questions in chat. Is this an Agaseed? Well, I'll spoil it for you if you want. I know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but considering what they have on Death Mountain, that is still an option. So, I'll let you decide on that one.
Okay, book on Old Man. That could just be because he had to walk up here. That may or may not be required.
Very true.
We're not going to get a map check, although we do fill in this information in advance. So we can see that desert, for instance, is not a crystal. But yeah, if Ocarina were not available, for instance, that might have been required to just return the old man anyway.
And Relkin actually taking a death. He wishes he had the blue potion now. Sorry if you're watching, but I had to make the comment. But looks like both of them are headed towards Paradox Cave.
Yeah, although Benteezy in that same place in deciding not to use the potion, which, I mean, like, if you're that close to the old man, I'm not sure that it, you know what I mean? Like, that close to a restart point, I would say, like, deeper in dungeons is the time at which you're like, God, I wish I picked up that safety.
Not just that, but also you have the potion glitch if needed in Pod.
All right, so we've synced up here in Paradox Cave. We're pretty close to each other, despite a death on Relkin and a little bit of routing darkness in the overworld.
Very true. And Canis and Mario pick up. Ah, I think I see why Benteezy grabbed the other chest, too.
So that's what we were there for.
So it looks like we're going to see at least all of Dark World Death Mountain taken, except for Spiral Cave. Sorry. Whew,
Yeah,
boy.
it looks like
you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Looks like we're getting some early game routing diversions here, and this could just be different strategies. Maybe Relkin wants to route this in later with Turtle Rock. So question in chat, what's up with the time differences? Benteezy started his timer from the spoiler log reading period. They get 15 minutes to read the spoiler log, so that's why his timer is 15 minutes. It seems like his timer is 15 minutes slower.
Sorry about that. Just had to refresh the stream.
So Mirror is what Benteezy stuck around in the Dark World for. Relkin already going along to get their flippers, which we know are required because of Swamp Palace.
I think Benteezy's probably going to run and do Hera. Oh, guess not.
Yeah, Hera, if there was progression in there, then that might be a good idea to do it now. But it's so nice to be able, if you've got the mirror, to be able to chain it with entering Ganon's tower. You save a little bit of time. You save, like, basically a couple of screens of time.
I guess. But digging game. Chat, make your guesses now.
And if you didn't get them in, it's too late. So yes, with the hammer found, the only possible way that it could be an Agaseed still would be if there was something on Lumberjack. But, spoiler alert, there's not.
I was just about to make the comment as well.
It is a boss heart container, and actually, that's something I noticed about this seed is that there are a couple of containers that are possible to route in on the way, but not a lot. You have 13 containers, I think it is normally, that you might be able to pick up.
14 counting the Sank Heart.
Yeah.
The only one that will heal you, actually.
Yeah, and these, there are some that are sort of on the way, but it's always a big question, I think, in spoiler races, like how far out of your way are you going to go for that extra hit that you can soak? Okay, Relkin coming back up. Okay, interesting. So Relkin decided to go. I think I see what's. He decided to go to Village of Outcasts first, maybe in order to get the hammer and the cane.
Probably so they can actually set up Turtle Rock. Yeah, my guess is probably Turtle Rock.
Well, without the Fire Rod and Ice Rod, you might be setting yourself up for a double dip, but I haven't looked too deep in this spoiler log. It could be that it's a forced double dip in some way, but I'm not sure that it is. Yeah, there's one thing I should mention with all this. Like, there is going to be some very obvious, legitimate routing differences. Just, they've made different choices, and we get to find out which one of them is going to pay off. Boots on Magic Bat, of course. But some of it can also just be the time pressure of looking at the spoiler log. No route is going to be perfect if you only have 15 minutes, which is part of the excitement. So yeah, and he does abandon Hookshot Cave there. So that looks like that might have been, I don't know if we want to call it an error, but it might have been maybe less optimal than staying up on the mountain. But you don't lose too much time, right? Like, it's just 2 screens, basically. You got to restart at the Old Man and go back over. So it's not the end of the world.
Personally, I was wondering whether or not he would have gone over to open up Turtle Rock, but then I remembered they didn't have the medallion for it.
Oh, well, that too, right? You couldn't get inside. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not a forced double dip. So,
it's not.
And Benteezy deciding to pick up that bottle at Hammer Pigs.
I think Benteezy's probably going to be using the bottles as his backups instead of having to get boss heart containers. And by the way, simultaneous opening of Thieves.
Yeah, we're not both entering it, but we're both opening it at least. So now we're pretty synced up as far as items go. We're just a couple of screens away.
We might actually see a lot of high fives in this one.
What I'm really interested in is in these spoiler races when opponents, let's just assume that they're watching each other, because I think that's probably the better assumption. How does your gameplay change based off of how far ahead you feel you are from your opponent? Like, in this moment, it's pretty safe to say that Benteezy has a little bit of time over Relkin. So does that mean that Benteezy can then relax and play safer, and Relkin might be taking more risks, like, say, avoiding those safety bottles? I'm just really interested to see how that plays out throughout the tournament. And indeed, Relkin is skipping the bottle, whether that's because he knows he's behind a little bit, or just he doesn't think he wants it anyway. It's really crazy in a game mode like spoiler races to think about, well, I need to start taking risks to get ahead, because the risks that you take are going to gain you small bits of time while potentially costing you a lot of time. So they're going to be very, very risky. But it's going to come down to, like, execution. So you can take those risks as long as you execute well.
That is very, very true.
Yeah, Aloe in the chat pointing out that because he skipped the bottle, that might be an indication that he just feels like he doesn't need them. So if you've played a lot of one-hit KO, for example, which Relkin very well might have, then he might be kind of using this like as a, I'm going to gain a few seconds on my opponent here and there by just OKOing it.
I know I've at least managed to do one NMG, OKO, and I basically made sure to have all 4 bottles before entering Eastern. Sorry, 3 of the 4. And I have to tell you, having to do a fake flippers in NMG just to go grab the hobo battle felt kind of weird.
Benteezy starting the scripted blind fight.
Well, semi-scripted, you could say.
I think this is the script.
It is. I mean, semi-scripted because I don't think it's technically supposed to be scripted. We just know how to actually get it to work.
Oh, well, when we say script, what we mean is that you can memorize the pattern and the boss will do the exact same thing every time.
Yep, first time, every time. And that's Crystal 1 for Benteezy, with Relkin on his way as well.
So one boss down, arguably the easier boss. Oh, it's interesting. Okay, Benteezy's set up to get the heart container. Again, like, if he knows he's ahead, this is great. Route in the safeties, get the bottles, do all the things to make sure you keep your lead.
Very true. Very, very true.
So with that fire rod, I think all that we really need to pick up at this point is the ice rod to be in ready to go mode. All right, script fight number 2. Ooh. Oh my god. That was close. Even though it's a scripted fight, if you get off just a little bit, you only have 3 hearts as a buffer. Looks like Benteezy might have been going for the quick warp there into Swamp Palace. I don't know if he got it. I couldn't tell.
Not sure either. I know it's based on horizontal position, and it's really hard to tell. I mean, heck, there's even an option in the practice ROM to actually see if you're on a quick warp spot or not.
Yeah, usually I can just tell by how fast the screen transition is, but I was watching both screens.
Yeah, I was adjusting and mine for some reason was acting up, so. And sadly, since the Dwarf Smith doesn't really have anything, we're leaving him in the Dark Realm.
So we've got, I think, I don't think I'm inaccurate when I say we've got like all the progression items we need except for the ice rod, which is in a fairly easy to get to overworld spot. Just depends on how you want to route that in. So it's all just like bosses now, and whatever safeties you want to pick up on the way that you decide to route in. And of course, dungeon execution and all that stuff.
Very true. Benteezy remembering to collect the spare key.
You know, I didn't look far enough ahead to know what he's getting right now. On the left side of Swamp. Oh, never mind. I caught up now. Yeah. Rocky's spelling it out for us in chat there. We're picking up the flute on the left side here. I totally spaced on that requirement.
Not just that, but there's also a certain little safety item that he might go and collect as well.
Oh, you mean inside another part of Swamp Palace?
Yep, we'll see if he goes south later on. So I'll ask you, what do you think the hidden item that he might go for is?
Oh, I know. I've seen it, but you can. Are you asking chat?
Yes, I am.
Well, he does grab it. So Benteezy
Yep.
on 5 hearts, 2 bottles, both still full, and Cape. Relkin also on 5 hearts now.
But no bottles. Wait,
No bottles.
Did he get the one?
I'm not sure if he got the one at Link's house yet or not.
No, he didn't. But there's always a free bottle at some point, so... I think after Ice Ride, Benteezy might just consider he's in go mode. I mean, you got 2 bottles, you got 5 hearts, you got the cape. Isn't that about what you would have in expert mode, but with a better sword and usable bottle?
Oh, nice. Oh, did he miss? Oh, he just barely missed the 0 cycle. Oh, that was very close. And had to watch that little animation there. But he's doing a very difficult trick that starts with a hook speed and then it has like perfect timing hook shot.
It's not really perfect timing. It's just it takes a little bit to do it perfectly.
Yeah, it's very tight timing. I mean, I guess perfect timing would be like everything is frame perfect. It's not frame perfect, but it's almost worse in a way because you need to respond to what the puffballs do and what Argus does. Okay, Relkin now with their flute. Benteezy going to make a stop by Hype Cave.
So it better have some hype. Ah, yeah, he's good on safeties. We probably won't see him take any more hearts at all.
Yeah, especially that cape and like half magic together is like a really great combo.
Very true. Very true. And Relkin is also picking up their cape. Can't blame either of them. Insert classic LTTP memes and puns right here, chat.
So I kind of think about spoiler races as like the NMG of Rando, if that makes any sense. You know, in a sense that it's like, you know, tight room, very, very specific execution where if you practice room over and over again, you're going to gain some advantage. And I'm really seeing that on Benteezy. I know he plays NMG, but I just like the small little optimization, which
Very,
I
very
think
true.
I think that's what's accounting for quite a bit of the time difference here. There was at least 1 or 2, maybe what we could say routing that wasn't as optimal, which was the double dip up Death Mountain and having to go back up to Lost Woods for the Master Sword. But I don't think that accounts for all the time. There's a lot of, I think there's a bit of execution here as well. That was a nice Argus fight as well. Okay, Benteezy switching to Fire Rod for the classic one cycle Wizrobe Meyer 2 strat, NMG strat. And just barely missing it.
Oh, Fire Rod or
a
Sword
3
Beams,
cycle.
both of them work.
What's that?
I said Fire Rod or Sword Beams work, it's just a little harder to hit the Fire Rod. Fire Rod's the backup, actually. Sword Beams, if you can manage it, are the main strat.
Can you hit it with Sword Beams? I thought that the Podobo could get in your way if you did Sword Beams.
I believe you can, it's just literally very hard.
Yeah, there are other strats. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's alright. It's alright.
Yeah, there are other ways to one cycle that Wizrobe room. Like you can use the Cane of Samaria, for instance, to one cycle as well. But that's definitely the NMG ways with Fire Rod. It looks like Relkin is just doing dungeons in a little bit of a different order. At this point, which order you do the dungeons in doesn't really make a big difference unless you're going to find something like boots somewhere, which we already have. Some nice spooky mire from Benteezy. I think most like room optimization tech that you learn gains you like maybe a second if you're lucky from room to room against somebody who might not have optimized all the rooms. But spooky mire is like 30 seconds or something. It's huge.
Actually, it's 10.
For all 3 of them?
For all 3 of them, if I recall. Oh, to be precise, it's like 10 to 12, but it's not as much as it would seem, but it's around there.
Relkin using the spins to line himself up on the edge of this, and nice pause buffers. I like to see that. I think not a lot of people will pause buffer and they'll just take the fall. Obviously, he can't afford to do that now that he's already been hit off once. But I think that people don't use the pause buffer as often as they should, so I'm happy to see that. Like as a backup strat.
That's very, very true. It's weird to see people skipping so many chests.
I know. It's just one big go mode, this whole game mode.
Which is fun.
Relkin not having to go too far out of his way to get another heart container. Could have been a reason to decide to ride an Ice Palace before Misery Mire as well.
Not just that, but it's also interesting as to what would have been faster, dropping down to get it or hookshotting across. Not really sure on that one, considering, you know, how it would be.
Looks like Relkin's fishing maybe for some hearts. but didn't get any.
It'd make a Zelda run reference here of trying to actually line up a, count for a bomb, but wouldn't work.
We just missed it from Benteezy. Did the damage boost to get to the vanilla big key chest in Eastern Palace, which I think had the big key this time as well, and then got a hook speed off of the stairs. I like that. He had to kill a Podobo in order to make way for him to speed through, but that's like really good, awareness that, okay, where the RNG is right now with these enemies, I have to actually kill it before I spin speed through. I'm not sure if in the end he saved time with that, though. If you had to kill the enemy. I don't know, he probably had to kill it anyway if he walked around. But it's these small things. We get to nitpick here on comms. Normally we don't get to nitpick this much, but that's all this is. That's all this race is really small stuff. This would be a bad seed to draw if you felt like your opponent had an execution advantage over you, because there is not a lot of potential for shaking things up in terms of routing and sequence breaking and other factors. It seems like this one is like pure execution seed. And there's the final piece of the puzzle. So that's now all the items, progressive items we need. If we open any chests, it's either because we're fishing and we haven't checked our log, but more likely because it's got a safety we want or something.
Well, that or a big key.
Yeah, that too. It's big keys, small keys, yeah.
So I guess this is going to play havoc on the Ganon guessing game for the big, for the hour key.
Yeah, I'm not sure we will do the guessing game for this tournament. Oh. Relkin coming up to Zora's domain for... Oh, for a heart container, okay. I thought he was going to go to Zora, but maybe he was thinking about it but didn't have the money.
Not sure on that one.
Because there is a great item at Zora, so that a really great safety to have. Kind of safety item. So now we're just trading dungeons here, but Benteezy's in Ice, Relkin's now in Mire. I would say they probably have just about as long to go in the dungeon as each other. Maybe Benteezy's got a slightly shorter time of it because Relkin has to go all the way around to the vanilla big key chest. But keep in mind, Benteezy also does have Mire done. Benteezy's also got to pick up Ice Rod, though, in King Zora. So it's hard to tell exactly how much of a time difference there is, but I think Benteezy still got a lead here. Pretty clearly. Relkin picking up some arrows on the way. It's kind of funny, in a normal rando race, you will get you'll pretty much have the arrows that you need when you go to fight a boss like Armos Knights for the most part. But in a spoiler log race, you can be 34 minutes in and still have 0 arrows. Nice D-boost, hook speed from Relkin as well. Basically the same thing on the other side. Decided to kill the right Podobo. That was a really, really quick cold stir kill from Benteezy. All right, Benteezy routing in, leaving Ice Palace with Ice Rod, just as Relkin did. So it looks like Relkin's going to finish off Armos Knights at just around the same time that Benteezy's picking up the Ice Rod. We'll see if Benteezy goes deeper. Yeah, he's going to leave. He might be fluting. Yeah, he's just going to flute away. Okay. So at this point, Benteezy's got a Misery Mire over Relkin. So I think what's going to be needed is a death in order to even up this game. But Benteezy's pretty comfortable with 2 bottles, potions. He's got that cape. 7 hearts is pretty low. Thinking about going to Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower normally, but for spoiler races, that's not too bad.
Actually, that's not even that bad in NMG terms.
For Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower, you usually have a lot more hearts than that.
It's not that bad. You've never played Mirror Shield. Mirror Shield is basically just getting the Mirror Shield, so you're into the rock with the very most 7 hearts. But you're right, that is pretty low for dealing with, you know, dungeons like this.
Relkin just going for some slashes with the Master Sword cape. So if you slash and the cape's on, your magic doesn't drain. So this is like a really safe, easy way to defeat Vitreous.
Not just that, but it's something that even most NMG runners don't know about, or I should say, used to not know about until the randomizer.
Yeah, which is, I think, one of the cool things about the spoiler races in particular is that I feel like NMG really does a great job of testing your execution. But with something like a spoiler race, you get that test in addition to testing game knowledge, which I think is really cool.
But also with testing, what are you comfortable with as well?
Yeah. Yeah, so for instance, that strategy might not have been as fast as like a normal energy strategy, which, in fact, in the practice hack, I think you practice that fight with 7 hearts exactly, which it involves deboosting and using all those hearts.
Well, 7 to 8, depending on if you have Sank Heart or not.
Okay, Benteezy getting the 1 cycle on Trinex. Just barely. It looks like it was almost about to go into a 2nd cycle. 3 hearts, not popping the bottle because phase 2 is whatever. And Relkin just now entering Turtle Rocks. We're going to get a little bit of speed high 5 probably at the entrance here. Unless the fanfare lasts long enough that we don't get to.
True. Although, what would be nice is actually, at least for the Ganon Tower, since we're not doing key guessing game, I guess whether or not, like, Bob lives or dies, is it going to be in its big key room? Just go by the sections. It'd be fun for chat.
Yeah, if you have a guess about the big key, get it in now. Whatever that guess is. Although we still have 1 more dungeon to do.
That is correct. Though, as I said, we'll try to figure something out, chat, to help with the sad fact that we won't have the key guessing game for you. And it looks like you were right about them, about Benteezy popping into Hera first before GT.
Yeah, it's such a small time save that, you see it a lot of in rando races when you don't know. For instance, if something's going to be in Tower of Hera and then somebody gets to go mode it right before G Tower. It doesn't save a ton of time, but in a race like this, right, every second counts.
That is very true. Ouch! Fun little fact, you can actually use the sword spin to stop your movement while on a Samaria platform.
So, like, if you wanted to delay running into a electro buzz, whatever those things are called.
Actually, they're a jellyfish.
Blue Bari, I think, is the technical name for them. Benteezy with the 7th crystal. So 44:30 about G Tower entrance is what it's going to be.
That's correct. Chat, get your guesses in as to what side the big key will be on and what room it'll be on, I guess, since we can't have you guess the location, and whether or not you think Bob will be alive or not.
This is a really good pace. A lot of the top 8, for instance, had sub 50 times, which is just incredible. I think sub hour is the sub 2 of spoiler races, but sub 50 in a spoiler is really great. It looks like Benteezy is on pace for that, and Relkin might be as well, actually, here. It depends on where the big key is. I actually haven't looked, so I have. Well, it looks like he's going to Dark Magician room and pulling his mirror out, so I'm going to guess it's going to be there.
Yep. You have DM's room, the Fireball room, Fire Snake room, that Big Key room, and then I think it's Randomizer, and then Tile, I think, are the main ones. At least on the spoiler log.
I like Benteezy's strategy of using the cape there in the spike room. It's not something you see a lot in that room, but when you're thinking about really wanting to keep your health in a spoiler log race, I mean, he's doing really good now. He's got 8 hearts, a couple safeties still, I believe. Half magic.
Half magic, blue potion that he never used.
But it's those small things like deciding to cape on the spikes, which is why he hasn't had to use his potions yet.
Not just that, but also where he was in the menu, it was really easy to get to the cape. And now he's in Ganon Ball Z.
Yeah, it looks like he was almost setting up to do the dash all the way through, but had to bail, maybe because of RNG.
It's RNG. That dash is hard to get. I've gotten it once, but it does save a decent amount of time. Well, not a lot, but it's just bragging rights then.
All right, Relkin did pick up that blue potion from Link's house, looks like, which is really convenient.
You know, one thing I've actually wondered here is if it's not a viable strat if you actually have powder to not just powder the bunny beam. Go ahead.
Oh, you're saying in the room before Landmo 2?
Yeah, because although it does change the RNG, as you're entering, you can basically set up a sword spin and get 2 of them, if not all 3 of them, with your spin. And if you don't have Butter Sword, it still helps.
Yeah, in Benteezy's case, he's got so much health. I don't know that he cares.
I don't.
Relkin
think so
heading now
either.
towards Tower Hera. Okay, Benteezy's taking a second here to ensure he doesn't despawn the top of G Tower because he decided to go for that full magic drop.
We've actually seen that once in a randomizer tournament. I believe F. Gottlieb had to deal with it during the very first.
Yeah, Sinak pointing out in chat that Benteezy knows he's ahead, so why risk the despawn? You know, that's one of the ways that he might end up losing is by some catastrophe like a despawn. It's not going to be Moldorm Falls. It's not going to be, you know, it's going to be like a death or some glitch that's going to make you basically reset.
I guess the one thing we don't know is the number of blue balls.
Yeah, that's something we don't get in the spoiler login. We're not going to be getting, because that is very hard, I understand, to parse that out into the spoiler log. Oh, just misses the third cycle on Aga, too. Blink and you miss it fight from Relkin. Okay, never mind. He had 2 hits left, so I think that one of those triples became a double because they were so close together.
That's usually what happens.
So unfortunately, not a sub 50 seed, which I think is interesting because it felt like a fast seed to me, like as a spoiler seed. But I wonder if a part of this is because Benteezy knows where he's at in comparison to Relkin, so maybe he's not taking as many chances as he might during his qualifier races.
More than likely. More than likely.
mean, we've seen that a little bit already, just playing a little bit safe on the spikes there, for example, or yeah, the despawn.
And I missed Ganon's quote of the day on that one. So, what do you think Silver's were since neither of them got it? Oh, like, scratch that. We know where they are. Chat, where do you think they were?
Just missed the one cycle there for Ganon's first phase. So he could one cycle this second phase. Oh, it looks like he's going to because of the cape.
And Benteezy won phase 4, while Relkin getting to just about the beginning entrance of Gauntlet.
So it looks like Benteezy's going for as many triples as he can. With the magic he has, even though he did miss one triple, it's still possible for him to defeat Ganon using only the Fire Rod throughout the whole fight, but he might have to switch to Lamp if he misses too many triples.
Not really. Not really. NMG, you're going in with half of that magic. Meaning you're literally going in with half total magic.
Oh, I'm thinking the Master Sword fight. Never mind. I'm thinking low percent. At low percent, you would need a full magic bar, basically.
Full magic bar, magic. Yes. And that's if you're using...
There he goes.
So get your GGs in chat, everyone, for Benteezy.
And that is an official SRL time of 1 hour, 7:53, but that's with 15 minutes in the spoiler log, so basically 52 minutes, 53 seconds of actual runtime.
Hello, friends.
How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good game, Benteezy.
Yes, GG.
Sounds like your mic might be a little quiet.
My mic is quiet? I'm just
it sounds
a quiet
that
person.
Okay, maybe.
Might need to turn it up.
Yeah, don't worry. You're not that quiet.
So were you watching the restream as you were playing?
No. I figured that if we do different routes, or if I'm listening to the commentary, then I'm just gonna confuse myself. So I'd rather just not have any outside information, so that I can keep processing information throughout the whole run.
It felt to me like you were, in moments there, you were taking it a little bit safe, like waiting for the torches to go out for the G-Tower despawn, or using the cape on the spikes.
Yeah, I haven't done many spoiler log races, but the ones where I try to, like, just go balls to the wall never really work out well for me. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just play it safe. I picked up half magic, I picked up some extra hearts that were a little out of the way, I picked up cape. It's like, yeah, I could do Vitreous with 4 hearts, NMG style, but if I make a single mistake, that's 3 minutes lost. So I'd rather just not deal with that. Rather just play it safe and pray that my routes with, like... Okay, so almost every time I've done a spoiler log race, Christos has been in the race, and every time I compare routes with Christos, Christos always goes, oh yeah! So, I'm pretty confident in my routing.
Yeah, you definitely gained some time on routing this, like, single-dipping Death Mountain, for example, which I think would have been really easy to miss, that you could do that. Or that you had to go up another time?
For the hook?
Yeah. because the mirror and hookshot cave. Because you might be thinking, oh, I'll just wait until I do Turtle Rock.
Yeah. So it's like I wanted to get the boots as soon as possible. But, it was either get mitts and hammer, get mitts and mirror, or get hammer. So I was like, well, mitts and mirror are right next to each other, so I'll just pick that up. But then I was like, well, I might as well just get hammer so that I can stay in the dark world, because if I mirror to the bat and then drop, then I have to go back to the portal, go back into the dark world, because I can't get past the peg to get back to my portal. So I was like, I'll just go down and do digging game and then get my boots. So I wound up just getting everything that I needed for Magic Bat to get boots. And then the rest of it was pretty straightforward. I just did the dungeons in the order that they would give me heart containers, so that I would have the most hearts for Ice Palace.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and I think that if you hadn't have done that, if you had gone for the hammer method to get the boots on Magic Bat, you still would have had to have another Death Mountain climb in there anyway. So might as well just do it then.
Yeah, because you needed mirror to get flute.
Yeah, and to do Swamp Palace before you needed to go up the mountain for G Tower.
Yeah, so it just made sense to get it all at once. I'm gonna be honest, it didn't occur to me the first time I routed through it. It was like, as I was writing out the route, I was like, okay, go to Death Mountain, go to Paradox Cave, get mitts. Oh, I have mitts and Pearl. Just do Hookshot Cave. There's like 3 things in there. And then that was like, that was like in my last like 5 minutes of routing. Like I was just like, oh, I can do that. Didn't occur to me right away, so I can see how someone could miss that. My Ganon was atrocious. That was like the worst part of the run. I was so.
Oh, it wasn't that. It was a 2-in-1. It wasn't a 1-in-1.
I missed like 5 spins in phase 4. It was so.
Oh, you mean the triples? Okay.
Yeah, it was like wound up having to light the torch like 2 extra times.
Oh no, Relkin taking a death. He switched to the cape after taking a hit from the fire bats, but the cooldown period on the cape is too long, or was too long for him to avoid that second hit.
He said GG in the chat. I don't know if he's listening to the stream, but GG Relkin.
Yeah,
he's until you get here. Anyway, just say it to his face.
Yeah, I think he was in chat, but still.
Yeah, I use the live split SRL integration, so that's why my timer started at the beginning, because the race starts and then spoiler tourney bot starts the countdown. So.
Oh, well, he just wanted to do the Ganon fight again to get the 1-in-1. That's all it was.
I swear, Ganon's busted in 30.4. He always goes too fast. I always miss the first one cycle.
Gotta love that swag though. Gotta get the 1-in-1.
Yeah, I was gonna pick up half magic and then just go to ice, but I figured walking out of Hype Cave and then walking to ice was gonna take longer than just fluting to ice. And it also gave me worse menus later because I would have Ice Rod in my menu.
Do you think about that when you route? Like, you think about what my menu is gonna look like?
Generally, yeah. Like I always look for boomerangs in the spoiler log, and Ice Rod is like an exception because that's something that comes up in NMG. Like, you pick up Ice Rod after the Mire split in NMG so that you have 1 less tap from Ether to Fire Rod in Mire. And it's just like a frame save thing. It's just a very minor thing, but it's just something that like is fresh on my mind because I've run NMG. So that was just, it wasn't anything like I don't super hard focus on it. I do think about my menus a lot, but it's more like what's the correct menu in this situation rather than what should I pick up for my menu.
Yeah, because mismenuing can take, what, I think it's 25 or 45 frames, something like that. But it can add up.
Fast forward these credits. GG's Relkin.
Yes, GG.
Relkin crossing the bridge, just barely in that sub-hour mark. Actually, official SRL time of hour 15 minutes, so hour exactly minus the spoiler log study period. Good games, both of you.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a really nice seed. I thoroughly enjoyed that compared to the qualifiers.
Yeah, those were some nasty ones in comparison to this one.
Yeah, 142 menu is not great. It's really hard when Boomerang is in Pyramid Fairy.
Let's see if Relkin will come join us for the interview. So is there anything like in particular that you're hoping, like, I mean, we all learn all these weird techs, you know, like sequence breaks and like crazy speed strats. Is there anything you're hoping will come up in the spoiler tournament?
Well, something that I love about spoiler races that I think is exclusive to spoiler races is the path, like the route that I took in Swamp in this run. What, like in regular rando and in NMG and in most vanilla speedruns of the game, you have to get the big key, which is on the right hand side of the left. So you need to flip the switch again. But in spoiler logs, when you only need the left chest, you don't have to flip the switch again.
Oh.
So you get to go straight down from like flooding the water. You can just go straight down and go to the left chest because you don't need to flip the pegs to get the vanilla big key chest.
I didn't even notice
that. I love that.
That's
I love
cool.
that about. I'm so happy that I was able to do it this run because I don't think like anybody like really notices that. But yes, outside of that, I'm just a fan of like the good execution, the good key routing, especially like in dungeons like Pod and Turtle Rock. Like I didn't get the Pokey key here because faster to go to Laser Bridge than to go through that pipe 3 times.
Makes you wonder though what a key sanity spoiler seed would look like.
Well, you need a lot more than 15 minutes of planning, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you get 15 minutes to plan out some of that, and then you got to route on the fly. That would be funny.
Exactly. You just got to have good multitasking. We've got Relkin in here with us. Good game, Relkin.
Hey, GG, thanks. Good GG, Benteezy.
So we saw you go up to Zora initially. Was that just for the heart container on the ledge, or were you planning on getting the silvers?
If I thought about it more, I would have remembered to grab some rupees before. I think there were some convenient rupees that I completely skipped by without even realizing. Otherwise, I totally would have grabbed the silvers.
Oh, no. Yeah, that would have been a bit of a time save. So yeah, what did you think about this? You were in with us in the chat, right, Relkin?
Yes, I was.
What did you think about the seed?
Oh, I felt like I was kind of risking it there with the 3-heart blind, but I managed to pull off a kind of decent script there. I almost screwed it up at the end, but
yeah, that was close. I am yeah, because it could have been like a single head hit, or you got that second fireball.
yeah, the fire. I'm so glad it was the fireball and not the head.
Yeah. And then gave you that little bit of iframes to get that last hit in. Yeah.
I can just imagine Blind saying, not the face, not the face, now.
Yeah, because of that, it left me shaking the rest of the run, and I couldn't stop shaking.
That's one of the things about this, which I think is hard to appreciate just like as a viewer, because on the commentary end, it's almost really hard to commentate this. It's like an NMG race. We have to focus on the little nitty-gritty. But on the runner end, it's so opposite. It's like everything's happening all at once, and it's the most stressful experience ever.
Yep, that pretty much describes it.
Yeah, most spoiler log races are very on the low percent side. I'm surprised I had tempered so early. I had tempered for all the bosses.
Plus, if I recall, there was actually a sword upgrade in GT you could have gone for if you really needed one.
Yeah, I think that's what the last one was. I don't ever write down more than 3. I hate Gold Sword. Like, if I see Gold Sword in front of me, like, let's say I check Graveyard Ledge and Gold Sword is there, I won't pick it up.
Even if it would only take you a second?
Yep, I don't pick it up. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's ugly, and it adds lag, and I don't need it for anything. It doesn't save time anywhere. I hate it. It saves time on Trinex. That's the only place.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like the one.
Right.
But I don't even go for backdoor strats on Trinex, even with tempered. Sorry, it wouldn't save me time on Trinex.
Yeah, so that last sword was in Randomizer room, along with the red nail. So.
Yeah, that would have been a little deep to have to dig for that. So, makes sense.
Yeah, both armors were in unfortunate locations. What's the other one?
Desert Ledge.
Yeah, but it's Pendant Desert. I guess I could have mirrored after Mire.
Well, I got it before Mire, so I wouldn't die anywhere in Mire. So it was actually the most convenient.
Yeah. I didn't wind up grabbing any of them. I just grabbed 2. Did I grab the bottle with red goo? I don't know. I know I grabbed half
the one at You grabbed the one at Link's house. I know that much.
I did grab the one in Hammer Pegs. Yeah, I grabbed Hammer Pegs and the one in Link's house, and I grabbed half magic. Those were all my safety. I wasn't sure if I had the bottle with red goop, and I didn't want a menu to find out, so I just never used it. No.
Hey, Benteezy, did you check the stun prize section?
No, I didn't.
You really would have liked to have known what that was, because it was fairies.
I felt like I played pretty well. The only time I used a potion was in Ganon.
Yeah.
I didn't use a potion anywhere. Like I mean, I used my cape to walk over spikes in GT, just because, you know, 4 heart gauntlet is lame. But
well, I figured that, and also you realized the menuing would have been faster too.
Which menu?
Well, you had the mirror. Cape is right next to the mirror. I figured when you would have gone to switch, you know, it would have just Cape.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. It's a quick menu, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I like that lamp was available. It's my first time having a lamp in like 3 months, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, hooray for an easy access lamp.
And yeah, the heart count was kind of low, but I didn't mind going out of my way to grab a few extras. I grabbed the one in Mire Shed and the one in the library. And I grabbed the one in Turtle Rock because I got the Laser Bridge key instead of the Pokey key.
Personally, I'd love to see other modes with, you know, that are spoiler log, you know, style races, just because it makes it so interesting. You know, but you got to choose a route. I mean, could you imagine inverted mode with spoiler log?
Oh, that would be my heaven. That would be my heaven. Screw the Moon Pearl. That's what I would do.
I'll leave that for you guys to handle in 2020. I'll pass on that.
But I'd also say entrance shuffle like that would be hysterical.
I don't even know what an entrance spoiler log is like. That must look like a complete mess.
I've never looked it up myself. But I can imagine that would be funny.
Yeah. It's just like 100 doorways. Like
that's when you need several hours to review the spoiler log in advance.
Or handy dandy Control F.
Yeah. Well, good games to both of you. Do you have any last thoughts or words?
See you tomorrow.
Yep, pretty much.
GG's again.
And remember, viewers, don't forget to follow our runners Benteezy and Relkin, you know, and also to check out everything else that's on Speed Gaming.
Yeah, this is the spoiler race for tonight. This is the last one of tonight, but we have more coming at you tomorrow, including match 2 of these guys, which is happening at, am I correct? Yeah, that's happening also at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. But we're going to keep it off earlier than that with Superintendent Taylor versus Act the Boker at 7 p.m. EST. Yeah, that's going to be
that's going to be a good one. So.
Yeah, Weighty Words versus Matt 7898 at 8 p.m. EST as well. Although it looks like maybe there won't be restream for that one. So never mind, forget I said that. But yeah, join us tomorrow. There's going to be more fun spoiler stuff happening.
Okay, bye.
Wait, who was the real winner? I got my time on SRL to be pinpoint accuracy at exactly 1 hour.
I know, right?
That is actually insanely hard to do.
But anyways, GG's.
GG's again to the pair of you.
Good night.
And with that, that'll be us. It was a pleasure commentating with you, Mages.
You too. You too.
And have a good night, everybody.
Good night, all.